Congratulations on an excellent performance tonight, and also the UFC contract. What's kind of soaking it in, just the UFC logo there, huh?
Yeah, I'm just soaking it in, man. It's I've worked hard to get here, man. I've had so many ups and downs in my career, man. That now that I'm here, I'm just like, I just need to enjoy this experience, because every time I've gotten to that step where like, oh man, I am this close, and I take that step back, like I was like, oh, I got too lost in the moment. So I wanted to be fully, like, whenever I stepped in the cage, I was super calm, super relaxed, didn't let the moment take over me. Now that it's done, I was telling everybody, like, look, I'm not worried about anybody else, I'm not worried about anything else. It's like, I just want to fight, and then when I get in there, I'll worry about everything else after. So this is why you see me looking at the UFC logo, like, looking at everything, just like, man, now I'm soaking this in. Now I'm like enjoying everything else. But I was just really ready and focused this week.
That's awesome. I think it'd be hard to criticize anything in your performance, but I mean, what did you think about it overall? How do you feel you did tonight?
Man, I felt like I did great. As soon as I stepped in, I had this weird calmness over me. I know usually people are supposed to have like this type of jitters. You're fighting with nobody around. This is the first time that's ever usually happened. So for me, it was a weird calm. As soon as I got in there, I was like, I looked across the cage and I looked at him, and he looked and looked away, and I was just like, in my head, I was like, I don't know why, but I'm like the most confident I've ever been, and I know exactly what he wants to do. As soon as he threw the first punch and everything, it just all fell into place. Like, oh man, I've envisioned this in my head so many times. It's not gonna go long.
Yeah. I can't imagine anybody's debating the stoppage, but I mean, I guess he wasn't out cold. But
Yeah.
Did you feel comfortable with the fight stopping? It was.
Man, for that first punch that I landed after it dropped him, I thought he was done. But at the same time, I've dropped people and then like just walked away. I didn't want to do that on this one. So as soon as I hit him, I dropped him. I was like, no, I gotta go. So I heard my coach in my head, finish. So I just went and just started to just let all combinations. And then whenever I dropped him again, I was still iffy about that one, because I was like, I knew he was out, but at the same time, like how he was still on his legs, like he just dropped and crumbled. Like it was like almost like one of those what are these in the pen, little springs? It was like a little spring thing. So as soon as he popped down, he was popping back up. I was like, do I need to keep punching him? What's going on? So, but I was glad that they stopped it, because man, I was just on a roll.
Are you okay with the young Masvidal? You want to keep that going?
Hey man, I'll take it all, man. I'll take a little street Jesus. I don't mind it at all. And if I get that comparison, that's all great and lovely, man. But I'm here to make my own journey, man. So this is what I want to do. I've worked my whole entire life for this, man, and I'm super happy it's finally paying off. But man, look, big shout out to Gamebred, man. He's actually one of my favorite fighters. He's one of the top, man. One of the top favorite fighters, right behind Cain Velasquez. But I love the comparison.
Nice. Last thing for me, I mean, obviously this was the goal. Now you got to get in UFC. So what's the plan there? I mean, do you have an idea of like when you want to fight, or what's next?
Man, my phone's gonna be open for anytime. Man, if they want me to fight this, like if somebody drops out this week, I'm your Huckleberry. I'm here. I'm ready to go. Like I'm already pretty close to weight anyway, so I'm ready to go. Just if you want me to fight in 2 weeks, man, look, I'm fighting. I've been doing this as a part-time job. So now that I'm in the UFC, I'm gonna be able to do this as a full-time job. This literally has changed my life. So I'm here and I'm ready to give it my full attention. And look, if that was me on a part-time job, doing this part-time, imagine a full-time.
Just going off of that, how much better do you think you could get doing this full-time?
Oh man, I'd get so much more tremendously better. I have more time to drill, have more time to add and incorporate more things into my game. I feel like I would jump up notches in my game. I think you would see a lot more crisper boxing. I think you would actually see a lot more kicks. I like punching, but I start adding the kicks in pretty soon. Wrestling and jiu-jitsu would follow. I'm really good at jiu-jitsu too, but it's not my go-to. I like boxing, but you would see improvements everywhere in my game.
Yeah, I think it's funny. Paul Felder called you like a young Masvidal, but he meant your boxing was like Masvidal, not that you looked like him.
Hey, I've gotten like I went down because I was looking at LFA and they posted a picture of me and my opponent, and I was going through the comments and they were like, oh, that guy looks like a little Jorge Masvidal. That looks like a little game bred, little street Jesus. And I just like I never got that. I don't think I look like him, but hey man, if you can put a side-by-side comparison, you know, of course you're gonna see that I don't look like him, but if my fighting style's getting compared to his, man, I'll take it. That guy fights. I love the way he fights, and as you can see, you know, I'm getting comparisons to Street Jesus, so I'm happy with that.
How long have you been a fan of his? Since just last year, or for a while?
Oh no, for a long time. I've been a fan since he fought Ala Quinta, and then also in his fights whenever he was fighting in the backyards. But I didn't know it was him fighting in the backyards until he fought Ala Quinta. That was whenever I was like, oh, that's that same guy. I never drew comparisons, but after I saw the Ala Quinta fight, you know, I thought he got robbed in that fight. But at the same time, you know, it kind of, you know, the whole resurrection thing, you know, you just come back now, start your people. I kind of had, it's weird because I kind of had to have that same thing, because after my loss to a guy who's in the UFC, Miles Johns, after I lost to him, I had to go and rethink everything that I do, because in that fight, I felt like I didn't do enough. I felt like there was more I could do. I wasn't tired at the end of the fight. So after that fight, my whole mindset changed, my whole training changed. You know, me and my coach Sauce Elise, we got together and we're just like, something needs to change here. We need like mental. You're doing all the right things. We just need to start pushing when we start to get that killer instinct back. So, of course, my whole 2019, 2 finishes and 1 split decision with a guy who was really tough in Kyle Estrada. And then just now, you know, the first time fighting in 2020. Man, if I can get 3 fights by the end of 2020, I'm happy. So, yeah.
Congratulations, man.
And thank you very much.
Adrian, congrats. Jim Greasehopper cage side seat. That boxing is something else. And I couldn't help but think about that with how you grew up with your dad and the fact that you punched your way into the UFC by boxing. I mean, there couldn't be a better story with your backstory with him and the way you just did that tonight.
Oh man, you know what's actually really crazy is my dad's a southpaw. And my dad's a southpaw, his strong hand was the left hand. So whenever I go back and I was looking, I initially dropped him with the left hook. So it's a little cool to like draw little comparisons back, and you know, it's just really great that I get to tell my dad's story. That, because to me, my dad's story means a lot to me. That was a big reason of why I even got into fighting. My dad would always put on the boxing matches, every pay-per-view, every Pacquiao pay-per-view, every Mayweather pay-per-view, every De La Hoya pay-per-view. Man, I remember just sitting there watching Arturo Gatti and Mickey Ward and just sitting there in just amazement. You know, it's just because also those guys were small. I knew I was never going to be a 6'3" guy. I knew, like, my whole entire family, I look around, they're like 5'5". So I grew 2 inches taller than most of them. So I just knew I was never going to be a big guy. So watching them fight, I was very inspired. I was super inspired, and like that was through my dad. My father, you know, he instilled me wanting to be into something into combats.
Yeah, and of course he's with you every step of the way now. You have him in every fight. Did you feel him do you feel his presence while you're fighting?
Man, I can say it like this. This was the most calm I've ever felt. There was one time, like my first MMA debut, like as an amateur, I was walking around and I was nervous. I was on the verge of tears. I was like, I think I might have shed a tear because I was just nervous. I didn't know if this was for me. And then I walked out and I see my dad. My dad came up and just hugged me and just said, look, you've been training hard for this. You've worked hard for this. And this is what you wanted to do. So you just take that step forward and go after it. And, you know, I went out there, I won the fight and found out that this is actually what I really wanted to do. And then tonight, whenever I was looking, I saw them running the promo right before I was walking out, and that one picture where you see him walking, that picture, like, usually, like, it would bring someone to tears, but to me, it was motivating me. Like, that was the day before he passed. That was the day before he passed. He was still walking and fighting just to be with his family. So, man, he was just pushing his hardest for what he wanted. So as soon as I saw that, it motivated me. Like, I really want to be here. This is really what I want to do. And my dad, you know, I felt like he walked with me into the cage because I felt focused. I had no fear in my body. I was not nervous. I had no, like, jitters whatsoever. And I'm, like, of course, every fighter has somewhat of doubt. I had no doubt today. I had absolutely no doubt.
Man, what a great story. Congratulations. I know there's a lot of people proud of you, and a lot of people out there watching that are going through adversity who look to you and say, man, if that dude can do it and take the long route and go through all that, I can do it too. What would you say to them?
Man, I just say, look, it's a day at a time. It doesn't happen overnight. It's literally minutes, seconds, you know, milliseconds. It takes time. You have to just keep taking that step forward. I know for me, it was really hard, and like for a long time I didn't have my mind right. So I had the right people around me. So like my coach Stoltzfus, he's like one of my biggest, greatest influences. I had my brother sitting over there to my right. You know, anytime I needed something, I needed to talk to somebody, man, I had the people to talk to. So man, you gotta reach out, and then also remember, it doesn't happen overnight. You have to take steps. You have to take your steps. It's one day at a time. It's not gonna happen overnight. And I'm praying for y'all, man. If y'all are going through anything, man, it's rough, but you can go through it.
Thank you so much. Congrats.
Thank you.